Welcome back. Now, when 2/3 of the members in the Assembly are first-timers, it seems the floor is an apt classroom to teach our MLAs the ABC of conduct, and spearheading the tutorial is none other than the Chief Minister herself. Our principal correspondent Peer Muhammad brings you the special story from out of Fort St. George.
If the Assembly has taken on the guise of a primer, there is a good reason. After all, 151 of the 234 members in the 14th Assembly are new faces. And Chief Minister Jayalalitha has realized that a lesson on the fundamental rules of the House are in order. An advice that has gone down well with the Speaker as well.
அவை விதிகளின்படி rules of procedure and business of the Assembly, எந்த மாமன்ற உறுப்பினர் இங்கே பேசினாலும் சபாநாயகரை பார்த்து மாண்புமிகு பேரவைத் தலைவரே என்று குறிப்பிட்டு பேச வேண்டும். எந்த கருத்தை தெரிவித்தாலும் அவர்கள் பேரவைத் தலைவரை பார்த்து தான் தெரிவிக்க வேண்டும்.
Earlier, Jayalalitha had organized an orientation program on the budget for the same members. And after it emerged that the MLAs, although quite conversant with the issues in their constituencies, it was clear that a lesson was the need of the hour. Especially since members tended to raise unrelated queries during question hour without first submitting the same to the Speaker.
முதலமைச்சர் தலையிட்டு ஒரு விளக்கத்தை உடனடியாக சட்டமன்ற புதிய உறுப்பினர்களுக்கு தெளிவுபடுத்த வேண்டும் என்று சபாநாயகருக்கு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. அது கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் அனைவரும் ஃபாலோ பண்ணுவாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அது இல்லாத வரைக்கும் இந்த 0 ஹவர் எப்படி அதை கொண்டு போகிறது, இந்த தொகுதியினுடைய பிரச்சனையோ ஒரு மாவட்டத்துடைய பிரத்யேகமான பிரச்சனை முன்னுக்கு வர பிரச்சனையை எப்படி சபைக்கு கொண்டு போகிறது, எல்லாம் முதல்வருடைய கவனத்துக்கு கொண்டு போகிறதுன்றதை புரியுறது கொஞ்சம் தடுமாற்றம் இருக்கும்.
Job orientation for freshers is nothing new in the corporate world, but now it has found its way to the Assembly as well.
Chief Minister Jayalalitha wants every new MLA to learn the lessons of the House quickly. However, it will take much more time for the new MLAs to learn the traditions of the House. In Chennai, with camera person Raja Singh, Peer Muhammad for NDTV Hindu.
Well, another aspect of the Assembly there being seen altogether. Let's get you some of the international news that's been making headlines. The latest on the rights situation in the United Kingdom. 3 men have died after they were hit by a car in Birmingham in what locals claim was a riot-related incident as the men were protecting their neighbourhood. A murder investigation has been launched. British Prime Minister David Cameron has said the police have been given sweeping powers to deal with the thugs out on the streets, and no phony human rights considerations would be entertained. Riots continued for the 4th day in Manchester, Salford, Wolverhampton, Nottingham and Leicester, though London, where it all started, was calm after 3 days of violence. Said to be the worst in 30 years, 16,000 police officers have been deployed in London alone. Meanwhile, the first fatality was reported as a man shot in Croydon, South London, died. The unrest began in Tottenham as a march to protest the police killing of a local turned violent. But since then, it's become an organized loot riot with groups in fact targeting upmarket areas.
Today, major police operations are underway as I speak to arrest the criminals who were not picked up last night but who were picked up on closed-circuit television cameras. Picture by picture, these criminals are being identified and arrested, and we will not let any phony concerns about human rights get in the way of the publication of these pictures and the arrest of these individuals.
Well, for many in London, the sense of fear at what was happening around them has now changed to a sense of outrage at the state of their once beautiful city, which has been badly damaged in parts. Now, volunteers are out on the streets with brooms in their hands, trying desperately to clean up the mess.
Small armies of London residents out on the streets, not with weapons but with cleaning equipment, to tackle the mess left behind after 4 nights of rioting and destruction.
These riots have been really awful, and we just want to show our support for the community because everyone needs help to get back on their feet.
But there's also fear that the violence isn't over, and anger that the police seem helpless as shops are looted. As London's mayor arrives to help clear the mess, he's heckled by angry residents.
What are you doing tonight to make the policing better on the street? Let me tell you, tonight... You talk about robust policing, what does that actually mean?
Tonight we are going to have a huge number of police on the streets, and I understand that.
Where were they? At 5 o'clock we knew they were going to hit.
Londoners are also using social networks like Wired.com and Facebook to mobilize a massive cleanup operation. A new Twitter account, @RiotCleanup, begun by Sam Duckworth, now has over 28,000 followers, an indication perhaps of how many people now want to restore their streets and resume their lives. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And in Southall in West London, which has a predominantly Indian origin community, groups gathered to protect their neighbourhood after rumours circulated that jewellery stores there were the next on the looters' hit list.
It's popularly known as Little India. This Asian-dominated borough in West London has become a prime example of communities coming together to fight rioters in UK. All over the area, young men are coming out to ensure that their neighbourhoods are safe.
Sending out the message to all other communities that we're together. If we come together, we can solve this problem by meeting and discussing and meeting with those other people who want to take this matters into their own.
Neighbourhood watches, or what some are calling vigilantes, are now becoming common all over UK. In Hackney and Kingsland Road, where looters try to rob shops, the owners are waiting for them.
We're here, we're making a stand today. We're making a stand, right? We ain't having all these people coming up here and ruining our place.
We are the Enfield Army. We're here for one reason, to stick up for our families. My girlfriend and my children sit at home. I'm here to protect them.
Enough of them. There ain't enough of them. There's too much going on in too many different areas. They need people, they need backup. They won't bring the army in, they won't bring no water cannons in. They need someone.
This is a small minority of London. This is not London. You see over there that these people that are standing up
We
for
are
London.
repping, mate.
This is for London, all right? This is London. These are the people of London, not the small minority that are going around smashing up stuff that have got nothing to wake up for in the morning.
But even as London recovers, the trouble is spreading to areas around the capital. Prime Minister Cameron has said that 16,000 officers will patrol the streets of London. Now he will perhaps have to come up with similar security plans for other cities as well. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Now, the London Olympics may be about a year away, but these riots have in fact created a huge cloud of uncertainty over the security cover for the Games. How will the organisers make sure that more than 30,000 people coming into London for these Olympics are kept safe?
The Olympic Stadium in London, one of the venues for the 2010 London Olympics, which at this time next year is going to be thronged by athletes, fans, officials and media personnel from around the world. But this is hardly the postcard that London wants to send to the rest of the world. Large-scale riots, unchecked looting and scenes that belong in a war zone. With the London Games still about 11 months away, the panic button hasn't been pressed yet, but Londoners are a worried lot.
I just don't even want to think about that. No, it's too frightening. And it would be such a shame. There's so much hard work. There are so many people looking forward to it. And I think if a few idiots spoil it for the majority, it would be very, very sad indeed.
Test events for next year's games, like that for women's beach volleyball, began on Tuesday, but organisers made sure play finished early so that spectators and staff could leave before dark.
In 2012, next year, we are going to be welcoming the world to our city. And it is a great city. It is a peaceful and it is a fundamentally safe city. And when people come here, they're going to find one of the safest, friendliest big cities on earth.
Safe and friendly is exactly what London is not looking like right now. And the list of sporting event casualties is growing, with now a question mark over whether the English Premier League season will start as scheduled.
On to some national news now. The BJP has stepped up pressure on the government over police's lathi charge on its youth workers yesterday. Pandemonium was seen in both houses. In fact, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha have been adjourned till tomorrow. BJP's leader, L.K. Advani, had called the government corrupt and oppressive, and he said his party would not tolerate it. When we come back, a man with one life short of a cat. Meet this medical marvel. That's up in just a bit.